At a certain point, the best solution, the only solution to all this is waking people up. It's absolutely what we have to do. Reaganomics is a disaster and a failure. The core of America's economy has been hollowed out by these right-wingers and these cons who are really corporatists. I mean, they call themselves conservatives. Their interest is really in making sure that corporate America gets what it wants. We're looking at the old-fashioned Mussolini definition of fascism, which is the merger of corporation and state. And in the United States right now, as this train is going down the track really fast in that direction, and what we have to do is wake people up. The mission of our show, enlightening people. Victor in Tempe, Arizona, listening on KPHX. Hey, Victor, what's on your mind today?
Hey, Tom, what's going on? I love your show. I'm a first-time caller, and I just wanted to the point you just made about waking people up, I think you're totally right about that. I mean, the conservatives whine that, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, all this, and it's like if people aren't educated about what's going on around them, I mean, you're going to get people that run amok, and I think that's what we've had. But I'm a little bit more uneducated about the banking reform thing than I think most people are about it. I know that I've read up a bit about Larry Summers, Paul Volcker. Is it true that some of these guys actually had a part in kind of dismantling Glass-Steagall and a few of? Can you tell us how that came about?
Yeah, the dismantling of Glass-Steagall was a result of the Graham-Leach-Bliley bill, which was in 1999, which was not presented as, it wasn't some huge major legislative battle over this thing. And basically what it did was it said that Glass-Steagall no longer existed, among other things. It did a number of things, but that was the primary one. And what Glass-Steagall was back in the 30s, there were some banks that got caught up, in fact, quite a few. In fact, the first week that Roosevelt became president, virtually every bank in America failed. He declared a bank holiday, and he shut down all the banks in the country because so many banks were failing at that point. And part of this was because a lot of banks had been getting into the Wall Street business, into the stock trading business, and sometimes on behalf of their clients, their customers, and sometimes on behalf of themselves. And so in I think it was 35 that Glass-Steagall was passed. In whichever year it was there in the early 30s, what Glass-Steagall said was, if you want to be handling other people's money, you have to make a choice. You can do one of two things. You can either be a boring, consistently and predictably profitable, but never particularly profitable, green eye shades bank. You take in savings, you loan out money for mortgages, you're basically a bank. And you'll always make, 2-3% a year and, predictable return on investment, but that's it. Or you become an investment house, you're a stock and bond trader. But you can't do both. There are different types of corporations. That's what Glass-Steagall said. And in 1999, Phil Graham was the major force behind this, the Republican devotee of Milton Friedman economics and the Chicago School of Economics and so-called free market. And his wife, Wendy, by the way, was on the board of Enron and a major lobbyist for Enron, and Graham himself later a lobbyist for Enron. And a year later, they passed Graham slipped into an omnibus bill, the Commodity Futures Modernization Act, also known as the Enron loophole, which brought about the ability of banks to create these derivatives that exist out of nothing, just thin air bets on bets on bets. And so in 99, Clinton signed this into law, and Rubin was Treasury Secretary, and he was all gung-ho for it. Summers was a chief economic advisor to Clinton. He was all gung-ho for it. And the Democrats have been drinking the Kool-Aid, as well as the Republicans. And now the Democrats are saying, okay, we got it. That Kool-Aid was poisonous, and we're not going to. This isn't Jonestown anymore. And Victor, thank you for the call. And the Democrats are saying, enough already. And people like Sherrod Brown and Ted Kaufman are saying, bring back Glass-Steagall, or the equivalent of it. Make banks make a choice. And they're going to have to spin off their investment division. Because right now, these 6 big banks that are sitting on an amount of money equal to 63% of our entire gross domestic product are taking a large chunk of that money, and in the back room they're gambling with it on the stock market. And not just on the stock market. They're gambling on it on what are called dark markets, which is where they're, in other words, they're unregulated markets. There's no light of day. Nobody can look at them. No government can say, show us your books. Tell us what you're doing. And this is the result of these two, in large part, of these 2 pieces of legislation, the 1999 Gramm-Leach-Bliley and the 2000 Commodities Future Modernization Act, both of which you can track back to Phil Gramm and the Republicans' flirtation with libertarian economics. This is pure libertarian economics. And, it's just very, very simple. Why do we have government? And this is what the teabaggers have to confront, and it's what we have to confront. The founders of this country created government to make sure that the economy and everything else works to the benefit of we the people, of all of us. And what has happened is that it has been hijacked. Government has been hijacked, the economy has been hijacked, and we now have this oligarchy, which leads us to Europe. What do they know that we don't know about what works?